Okay, kicking off my This Person Is Not a Nazi series is Gavin McInnes. Um, and first of all, I'm going to define the abbreviation, the word Nazi. Nazi, it was an abbreviation for the particular party that Adolf Hitler used to rise to power during that time in the 1930s, during the Depression in Germany, actually an Austrian bloke. I always wonder how he managed to do that as an Austrian, but that's another thing. It of course stands for National Socialist Workers' Party, German Workers' Party. So first of all, a lot of times people don't realize is that Hitler was a socialist. The commanding ideology going around most of Europe and of course the USSR and it was really spreading was different forms of Marxist theory and communism, of course, in China and Korea and all across Asia, and it really was a commanding ideology, and the way Hitler became so popular was bringing jobs back to ordinary Germans, and that was by putting them to work, building cars, but building all the stuff that the military needed, obviously enlisting vast amounts of people into the military, but really creating a capitalist economy through the government. So it was all government jobs that were being handed out. So he created this unbelievable workforce and an unbelievable economy because it was done in such a regimental fashion, and things were done so meticulously and well. It's the reason that to this day Germans and German engineering has such a good reputation because it's done so meticulously and meticulously. So that's how he became so popular and ended up coming to power, and then eventually kind of taking over and becoming a dictator because the people adored him. They saw it as he had taken the country from a depression where they literally were starving to transforming the economy and putting them all to work, and so they kind of do everything in his eyes. And then of course things went pear-shaped. We know the rest of the story. Propaganda, and he decided that the Jews from within his own populace were the problem. So again, all these arguments for kind of nationalism it started off very much as a nationalist movement, but he was actually killing and starting to wipe out, first of all, people from within his own country because of insane ideas. So anyway, we know the rest of that story. So what sums up a Nazi? Well, a socialist, maybe, and a possibly a racist, but definitely a xenophobe and somebody, and undoubtedly, without question, a horrendous anti-Semite. So you could definitely, if you were going to say someone was a Nazi, you would say that they were socialist in their political ideology, and they were anti-Semitic, and they believed all these ridiculous tropes and things about Jews taking over the banks and the world and whatever they are. Absurd. And our subject today, Mr. McInnes is very pro-Jew, incredibly pro-Israel, not racist in the slightest, and pretty anti-socialist, very pro-West, and he's just like a provocateur. He's like he's a well-read, he's got a very eclectic taste in music. He's funny. He's an interesting guy. He's a funny guy. He's controversial, of course, and that's what makes him interesting. And everyone on this list, the series I'm going to do, the reason they've been completely demonized and removed from all social platforms and everything for no apparent reason, is the actual reason is the reason they've been removed, including the likes of Alex Jones, who's just like a crazy conspiracy theorist who once in a while does get something right. But you're going to, aren't you? If you come out with a load of crazy stuff, every now and again something's going to be right. But I digress. Gavin McInnes, the reason he was wiped out is he was becoming more and more popular, but more importantly, because through humor and through facts and opinion and everything that he's good at, and that every kind of conservative is good at, is using facts and logic, and then of course humor is an excellent way of not selling, but getting people to agree with your point of view, or getting people on board in general. But humor is a great way of doing that, because it's better than probably what I'm doing and just talking with a camera like that. So yeah, he uses a lot of humor, which of course has been taken out of context and used to demonize him. And he now has a kind of independent network, if you like, paywall style thing, which many people will know about, and it's really good. So it's the show that he used to do with several different other media people before. I think Compound Media, and I think Blaze. Don't quote me on that, but of course through pressure and whatnot, I think he had to move through various reasons. Anyway, he started up on his own, and now it's grown, and he's becoming the sort of home to the band people. But what a lot of people don't know about this channel as well is he's put a lot of time and effort into this part of the website, is the free speech side of it, where he's desperately tried to get and paid them a lot of money, is left-wing, prominent left-wing people, academics and speakers and commentators, what have you, to come and talk with a sort of right-wing or opposite counterpart. And it's a genuinely really good show. It's a minimum, usually like 2 hours of just, not edited, long form conversation. And then, like I said, there's a few other, there's a growing amount of things on there. So I don't want to breach any of his copyright things, but I don't think I'll be showing you anything you can't look at yourself. I won't show any of his content. But I'll just show you an example just for convenience, and then I'm going to talk about Tim Pool. So let's do Tim Pool style. So before we get started, I've got my PayPal address, my crypto, and but above anything, please share this video, because I think it yeah. So let's Timberlake. I haven't got one of those hats, so I'm going to go for hoodie. and haven't got the glasses. But let's read. So yeah, this is his thing, and he has now these shows. This is his show, Get Off My Lawn. Friday Nights Alright is with Milo. I'm going to be covering him as well. There's lots of interesting things you don't know about Milo as well, because again, people are just demonized in the press. He does a live version that's free on YouTube, so you can check that out. He's got and then he has this Soph who was kicked off YouTube and Facebook and everything. This Biggs guy who does some very interesting, some good kind of stuff, men's stuff. There's Lumid. I've only watched one or two, well, one of her things so far. Punk Rock Patriot, I don't think it's quite my cup of tea. I've only watched one. I'll give it a show. And the same with Copper Cab Show. I need to give that another go. But free speech. So the last one he did was Matty Odell. But so, for example, look, Dinesh D'Souza and Michael Shermer, Candace Owens and Cornel West, Roland Martin and Joe Biggs, Gina Belafonte and Ann Coulter, Michelle Malkin and Michael Eric Dyson, Roger Stone and Mark Lamont Hill, Milo and Cornel West. And so he's done quite a lot, and I'm sure there's more to come. And yes, basically, this guy is not a Nazi. He's not a demon. He's been caught saying certain things. The famous one, I think, is choker tranny. Well, that was in a context, that was in a comedy thing, and he was saying if it's some Antifa cross-dresser or whatever, and they're being violent, they're attacking you unprovoked, then don't be scared just because they look like a woman. That's what he's saying, choker tranny. And in context, it's quite funny, choker tranny. But when it's been slowed down by some guy and then edited with some sinister music and clipped together with all the other dubious things that he said, which then the Young Turks used as if it was his material to demonize him, then yes, of course. And there's so many examples of that that I won't go through, because I'm also not here to be his kind of defense. But yeah, so I was also going to go through some articles where they just, the way they talk about him is as if he's like, well, yeah, Hitler himself. There was just one that really upset me, and it's gone, and it was a Huffington Post, I think it was a Huffington Post article, and I actually wrote into them with a complaint, just saying you have your facts so badly wrong, and you should be ashamed of yourself, because what you're doing is actually, you're being a form of terrorist to a decent family man who's just trying to live quietly in the suburbs. He basically doxed him. And they also got a copy of a letter that Gavin sent to his locals, his neighbours, because they were putting hate has no home here on his lawn, and as if to say, get out of here, we don't want you here. And he tried to reason with them and say, look, it's not what you think, due to the job I do, it's controversial and people get the wrong idea, and he goes in, but it's obviously not intended to go out to be seen by everybody. And they basically published this letter and then just said, oh, it's just some veiled attempt at, and I just thought, what a nasty thing to do, is to actually show his genuine attempt to reach out and connect with his neighbours in a suburb that he likes, say where it is, and then there was some event going on, and then the fact that he didn't turn up or his wife didn't turn up, and they get his wife involved in it. They said, oh, it just says everything. Well, no, because of course if you've been demonized like that, you wouldn't exactly feel very welcome anywhere, would you? So you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. I was going to go through all this, but I think I've said it. If people disagree with me and they want to give examples that say that he is how the media are painted, I would happily do a rebuttal video. But for now, I just wanted to say that he's an interesting guy with a different opinion, and he's very effective, and that's why he's been removed. And the people that got removed, conservatives on that big purge, they were all had that in common, is that they were incredibly effective, and they were getting the message across, and that is so transparent and so obvious. Let's go back full screen. Hello. It's so obvious when you're doing it like that, when you're not doing it, if you're just doing it randomly and saying, oh, this person said something terrible, but you're not. When you're specifically targeting people who have large audiences and are reasonable and are effective, then it's damn obvious what you're doing. And so that was the point I wanted to make. And yes, I think that just about covers it. Oh yeah, I was just going to quickly talk about Tim Pool and how all his videos seem to be about how the Democrats are melting down and all this stuff. And I don't think he realizes that he's basically been red-pilled, and he's now, without realizing it, kind of reading conservatively, more slanted conservative stuff. But it just goes into the point that I was making in another video and all along about this upcoming election, is that most people are the same. No, most people are not far right or far left. Most people are just normal. They want to enjoy comedy. They want to hear outrageous things said occasionally. They're normal. They're normal people. The thing is, nobody has changed. The media has just decided to ram some of this stuff down your throats, but nobody's actually changed. The electorate hasn't changed, and so let's not be surprised, you far lefties in your bubble, at a Trump landslide, because unless you've got, like I said, unless there's some Manchurian dreamboat candidate that the far left base can get behind, then they're not going to turn out to vote for him. And then if Trump maintains, and like I said, if he increases his share of the black vote, which I think that's going to be wildly underestimated, how much he's increased his share of the black vote. I mean, it's not going to be, massive, but it's going to be significant, especially for a guy they're calling a racist and a bigot and etc. So that's that on my series, This Person's Not a Nazi. Gavin McInnes is not a Nazi. You should check out censored.tv. It's very good. Yeah, next will probably be Milo, as he's in that camp, but maybe someone else. We'll see. I'll surprise you. All right, thanks guys for watching, and all the usual stuff. Start commenting, please. It helps the algorithm, as I'm a nobody on YouTube still. Please subscribe, thumbs up, and there'll be some high-grade content coming on its way when I get to America and employ some professionals to do my filming and editing and stuff like that. All right, thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.